Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ito po si Joel Santos ng Thames International Business School. Wini-welcome po kayo sa ating Ask DTI Livecast. Every week po, gumagawa tayo ng public service na livecast that is basically hosted by Thames, and our guest speaker and resource person every week is USEC Ruth Castello from the Consumer Protection Group po. Kasi every month during this GCQ at ECQ, naglalabas po ang DTI ng mga circulars kung paano po tayo mag-ooperate in this GCQ situation. So today is very interesting, something that we all need. Ito po ang ating today po ang ating livecast is about the guidelines on fast foods, restaurants, and salon. Alam ko po, lahat po kayo gusto na talagang lumabas, di ba? Kumain sa labas, hang out with friends, at magpagupit. Tulad ko po, ang aking hairstyle is still pre-GCQ. Actually, pre-ECQ. So I'm myself, I'm so excited to have a haircut. So, gusto ko na rin kumain sa labas at mag-dine in. So today, a lot of our guests are actually from the restaurant industry and from the salon industry, because we have to make sure that once we start operating, that we are within the guidelines that DTI has set out as how we operate here in the GCQ. And today, once again, our most important resource in the implementation is USEC, Attorney Ruth Castello. She is the head of the Consumer Protection Group, and she looks at both sides of the coin, diba? Both the SME and the consumers, and how to make all things work. So, good afternoon, USEC, and we have a long topic today, restaurant. So, after the presentation of USEC, we will have a Q&A. So this is our presentation today. This is our format today. USEC Ruth will be presenting. Then it's going to be a reaction and comments from our two panelists, which I'll introduce later. Please put yourself on mute, but you can already start putting your comments and your questions in the tabs. And then we start the live Q&A after the panel discussion. And so without further ado, let us all welcome USEC Ruth Castello. Hi, USEC.
Good afternoon, Joel. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ruth Castello, and nasabi na po ni Joel who I am. I'm in the Consumer Protection Group, and yes, we are the ones in charge of monitoring the implementation of our guidelines on restaurants, barbershops, and salons. Okay.
Sige, just keep your questions coming, and then we'll group them together later. Okay.
Okay, so shall we start?
Yes.
All right. I will share my screen so we can begin the presentation. Ito, the new normal in barbershops and salons. We'll start with that so that everybody will be updated on what's happening now. I understand that a lot of people are excited to go to barbershops and salons and have their hair done or their nails done or their face done. Okay naman po, for now, we are still limited to a few services. Hindi pa po siya lahat. A few actually, ano pa lang ang allowed under the current IATF guidelines. Were only allowed for haircuts. Kung kasama yung shampoo, okay na rin yung shampoo. Kung kasama ang blow dry po, sana hindi pa, but we allow it, pero syempre with extra precaution that will have to be done by both the salon owner or the barbershop owner and the customers. So under Memorandum Circular 20-28, these guidelines apply to barbershops and salons that are allowed to operate under the general community quarantine and the modified community quarantine. Only 30% capacity is allowed under GCQ areas, while in MGCQ areas, other personal care services are already allowed at 50% capacity under MGCQ. Yun pa lang po for now, but we hope to be able to expand the services under the GCQ areas eventually. Operating capacity, please take note that 30% lang under the GCQ areas and 50% for all personal care services under the MGCQ. Like I mentioned earlier, only basic haircut service is allowed under GCQ areas. Kung may shampoo, okay, pero kung may a lot of people kasi have given us their scientific studies on the use of blow dry, yung hair dryer in salons in enclosed areas. It is highly discouraged. So it's up to the customer to decide kung anong gusto niya. Kung gusto niya magpa-blow dry, okay din. Kung hindi, mas okay. So these are the new protocols. Upon entering the barbershop or the salon, these important information need to be posted doon pa lang sa pinto or whatever reception area that they have. No mask, no entry. That is a very strict protocol that we cannot do away with and that we cannot negotiate, we cannot compromise. Physical distancing protocols inside the establishment should be observed, a 1 meter distancing, then regular sanitation schedule and procedures every 10 minutes or after every 10 minutes, the common areas or the high contact areas should be cleaned. And then yung mga ginagamit ng barbershops and salons na scissors and then the cape should be one cape per person, but the other equipment like other tools like the scissors and the comb kailangan po nililinis yan. If they have the barbicide, what you call the barbicide, yung parang chemical siya na panglinis nitong mga ganitong devices, mas mabuti. And then if you have an available method of payment, which is online, credit card, Paymaya, GCash, or other electronic payment modes, mas okay po, it is encouraged. But of course, if you accept cash, and if the salon or the barbershop does not have that facility, yung cash kailangan nakalagay sa tray, and then sanitize it, spray it with alcohol. Ang peso bills naman natin, hindi siya nasisira kung kahit mabasa siya. So just spray it with alcohol and let it dry. Sana before you keep the money, before you put it in your drawer or in your cash box, sanitize na so that when you give it as change to the customers, malinis na yung pera. And then scheduling of appointments. Whenever you can, whenever possible, it's much better that you accept only customers by appointment. Kung kaya, either through online, yung sa internet, or text messages, para hindi po sila magpila-pila waiting for the service to be provided to them outside the salon. And then client personnel interaction protocols, 1 meter physical distancing. Let's avoid, as customers and as workers inside the salons and barbershops, let's avoid being too close to the person. Dahil alam nyo na yung risk ng virus natin. It's the droplets that we want to avoid. Even if you're wearing the mask, please make sure that your masks are, anong tawag doon, yung waterproof, yung hindi napepenetrate ng tubig or ng droplet ng virus. And then senior citizens and 21-year-olds are actually pinagbabawal natin to, sana hindi pa muna sila pumunta. They are highly discouraged from going because of the enclosure inside the salon or a barber shop. And we all know that it's not healthy and that the condition, kahit na po we feel that we are much stronger than younger people, still it is the age that we want to, that's why we want to protect them. Baka po hindi lang natin alam that we have our immunodeficiency has gone down and we're not aware of it, so better na po that we avoid. And then enforcement measures for clients who refuse to comply with protocols are in a manner consistent with law. The agency or the government agency that is in charge of this is the DTI. We are, of course, assisted by the Department of Labor and Employment to make sure that all the interim guidelines on COVID prevention in the workplace are observed. We also seek the assistance of the local government units, city health officers, so that they can help us monitor all the salons and barbershops in their respective jurisdictions. Floor mats or foot baths are required also upon entrance, especially for those outside the malls. Alam naman natin that malls already have this upon entrance, but if you're a standalone salon or barber shop, you should have this floor mat or floor bath, and then the thermal scanner for you to determine the body temperature ng mga customers na papasok. Any body temperature 37.5 and higher should not be allowed inside the premises of the salon or barber shop. You should also have a health checklist or the health declaration form. Meron pong ibibigay yan. We blasted the forms to the businesses, to the salons and barber shops. You need to indicate the body temperature, and then your contact number, which is very important. I understand that a lot of people refuse to give their phone numbers for whatever reason. Okay lang po yan, but please take note that we need this information so that you can be easily informed if there is any breakout inside the premises where you have just been to. Para po ma-advise kayo kung anong kailangan yung gawin na nagkaroon ng breakout during the time that you were there inside the premises. And then there should also be a system for the personal effects of clients to be put in a clean plastic bag and deposited, or maybe he can put it somewhere near him, basta hindi po exposed at hindi nakakalat. We're, of course, also preventing yung droplets that will fall onto your things and then you're not aware of it, hindi nyo nasa-sanitize. So mas mabuti na po na ilagay natin inside the bag and keep it beside us. Face shields to be distributed to clients if they avail of shampoo service. Yung all of us, of course, know already what a face mask looks like. Ito yung nandito covering the nose and the mouth that we wear every time we go out. But face shields to cover the eyes should also be provided by the salon or barber shop pagka nag-avail kayo ng shampoo service. This does not have to be disposable. Pwede po ito yung nalilinis, yung nasa-sanitize rin. So, pwedeng gamitin ng susunod na customer. Basta po, sanitized properly and correctly. Distancing of chairs to at least 1 meter apart on all sides. All sides, front, back, side, left and right. Kailangan po naka 1 meter away kayo from the next customer. So, this is a very important requirement to make sure that you are all protected inside the salon. Visible floor markings for guidance of clients, if possible. Hanggat maari po, lagyan natin ng floor markings so that the customers would know where to go, where to stand, or where they should not stand or go. Personal effects, or our personal effects, like I mentioned earlier, we put them in a plastic bag. And then to make sure that it's accessible to you, just put it beside you. Face masks, readily available for sale or otherwise to the clients. You can, the salons and barbershops, pag may pumasok na customer na walang face mask or walang sufficient face mask, you can either sell it to them or give it to them for free. Basta ang importante po, they are sufficiently protected while they're inside the salon. Sanitizing equipment, we mentioned this earlier, yung barbicide or any, kahit po yung sinasabi na disinfecting solution like Zonrox, Clorox, or yung mga liquid solutions that you dilute with water, pwede nyo yun gamitin. Or if you want, you can use pure alcohol, yung 70% isopropyl or ethyl alcohol. And then the workplace, yung mga workstations, the chairs that are used in salons and barbershops, yung inuupuan natin when we go for a haircut, need to be sanitized every after customer. Hindi po pwede na uupuan nyo when the last person just left nang hindi nililinis ng salon or barbershop. And then all pieces of furniture, pati po yung mga upuan, if you have benches there, kailangan may markings din siya na hindi pwedeng upuan ng the usual natin, because we're only on a 30% capacity here. So a bench for 3 people may only be occupied under the new normal by 1 person. And this should also be regularly sanitized. We discourage, well, we prohibit reading materials. Ito yung mga magazines na fashion magazines usually, and then the hairstyle magazines inside the salons and barber shops. We ask the owners or the operators of these establishments to remove them for now. Hindi po muna siya, because it's difficult to sanitize all of them, lalo na kung medyo voluminous yung inyong reading materials. And then the menus, yung service menu, either you post it at the counter at the reception, or you give the disposable service menu para hindi na po ibabalik at hindi nyo na kailangan i-sanitize, itatapon na siya after use by one customer. No personnel of the salon or barbershop with COVID-19 symptoms or with exposure to COVID-19 patients shall be allowed to work inside the salon or the barbershop. And then jewelry of the workers, not allowed. Wag na po silang maghikaw at magrelo. We have the time naman under in our cell phones. So hindi na po tayo pwedeng magsuot ng ganito. Rings, bracelets, kahit hindi naman po natin yan kailangan. We have all realized that now. Wag na muna natin suotin. And then the observance of proper personal hygiene ng workers natin, yung clipped fingernails, kailangan po avoid na muna yung mga manicure, so gupitin na lang ng maigsi. And then ang sapatos nila kailangan po sarado, hindi naka-expose na toes, para rin for hygiene purposes din, at mas madali rin linisin. And then the mandatory wearing ng PPEs nila, kung ano po yung when you say a personal protective equipment, kasi this includes all. It's the whole set, from the hair cover, face shield, face mask, the gown, and then the gloves, hair caps, shoe cover. Isang set po yan. So kung ano lang yung pwedeng i-provide ng ating salons and barbershops, yung mga we cannot do without are the face masks, then the hair shield when we do shampoo, at saka kung kaya sanang mag-gown, mas okay ang naka-gown. And the shoes should always be enclosed, yung mga closed shoes. Ayan, mandatory wearing of closed shoes. And also the observance of the proper disposal of single-use supplies. Kailangan yung garbage area ng salon or barbershop is in a separate place. And then make sure that you throw your garbage properly. Yung mga, especially yung face mask, as much as possible, let's not touch other people's face masks. Sila po, hayaan nyo silang magtapon doon, and then pag may customer na nakaiwan din ng kanilang tissue paper or cotton balls na sila yung gumamit, or face mask, sila na po ang magtapon yan. Unless it's, you're the one who used it on them, syempre hindi natin naman expect ang customer to clean it for us or to clean after us. Please use, siguro ilagay sila sa plastic container or sa brown bag, tapos tsaka natin itapon para sigurado na makaprotect tayo agad, and make sure to sanitize your hands after touching them. And then the declaration of the health form ng personnel cannot do without. They should do this every day tuwing papasok sa umaga. This is also under the DTI DOLE interim guidelines, na everyday po pagpasok ng empleyado sa trabaho, kailangan mag-fill up ng form indicating the body temperature, and then as much as possible, as much as they can remember kung saan sila nagpunta. This is for the workers. Hindi po ito para sa customers. Yung workers po, saan sila nagpunta the night before or before they reach the workplace. Lagay po nila kung sino-sino, at least kung sino-sino at kung saan sila nanggaling for contact tracing. And then yung hand washing and sanitizing of the hands should be done frequently, as frequent as possible. No physical contact during payment. We mentioned this earlier. We encourage the e-payment yung credit card, GCash, PayMaya, InstaPay, or whatever mode of payment na wala ng physical handover ng pera. Pero kung meron nga, please spray them and sanitize the money before you keep them para pag binigay ninyo as change, nalinis na po siya. And then the high contact areas, we mentioned that earlier, please make sure that even the ball pens na ginagamit inside the salon or the barbershop ay nasa-sanitize din. Especially door handles, yung mga hinahawakan ng customer. And then, hindi na natin to sinasali, but we include also common tables is here in the list. Yung toilet flush, yung flush in the toilet, kung pwede po i-sanitize rin ng establishment owner to make sure that no virus will be transmitted by touching it. So those are the protocols in the barbershops and salons under the new normal. And this is now the new normal in dine-in restaurants and fast food establishments. I will make this very...
Yeah, comment lang. Grabe no, Yusek. Detalye. I mean, just listening to it is like, whoa. So I guess for everybody who missed, some of you are late, and I know that you're asking, we will be sharing these slides anyway. But yes, put your questions on that. Yeah. So,
may detalye talaga siya.
Parang the way you're describing it, parang expert na kayo in running. Running salon. Meron na akong question. Yung massage services, hindi included in our discussion today, no? It's just really the spas and they're not included today, right?
Massage services are under personal care services. They're already allowed under MGCQ areas.
Okay, not in GCQs. Okay, just
not in GCQ.
Yeah, questions already. Just so that at least if you're not in MGCQ, then and you're massage services, then you can choose to leave if this is not for you, because we don't have that article for you now. Okay, so let's now go to restaurants and fast foods. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joel. Implementation of the minimum health protocols for dine-in restaurants and fast food establishments. The memorandum circular is still with Secretary Lopez for his signature. Hindi pa lang po siya nakakaupo, but we have discussed it thoroughly already, and we're actually implementing it as of this time. Kasi restaurants and dine-in in restaurants is already allowed as of June 15, 2020 in GCQ areas. So kahit ngayon in Metro Manila, you will see restaurants slowly opening up. Nag-accept na sila ng dine-in for customers. And here are the protocols which apply to all restaurants and fast food establishments regardless of size. So ibig sabihin, kahit formal dine-in restaurant ito, in hotels or in other plush places, pati po sa karinderya at saka mga turo-turo, ito rin yung protocols natin that need to be followed. Ayan, nakalagay dyan. It includes canteens, kahit yung office canteens natin, food courts, food parks, and other eateries providing dine-in services. They are allowed to restart their operations at 30% capacity at this time. Okay.
Question, you said para, because a lot of people are asking what 30% capacity is para tapos na. 30% capacity based on the number of chairs, yun?
Yes, the number of customers.
Okay.
If they used to have 100 customers before COVID, before the lockdown, they will now have 30.
Okay.
Depende pa yun kasi baka naman yung 100 nila, dikit-dikit dati, ngayon 30 lang, of course, observing pa din 1 meter physical distancing. Kung less than 30 yung capacity ng restaurant, if you impose the physical distancing, less than 30 yung mangyayari sa kanila.
Okay.
Okay, new health protocols. These are the mandatory requirements na hindi po natin, non-negotiable din siya, like in salons and barbershops, we have them also. We cannot do without, we cannot compromise yung health declaration forms, the floor mat or foot bath. with disinfectant if they are stand-alones, pero yung sa malls, pwede na po nawala nito. The rubbing alcohol or yung sanitizing alcohol that can be easily sprayed on the hands, a thermal scanner to get the body temperature, and then the physical distancing of 1 meter sa pagpila pa lang natin, sa pag-queue pa lang in the restaurant while waiting to be seated, naka 1 meter physical distancing na tayo agad. Buffet service is not allowed. Play areas for children are not allowed. The tables and chairs should be sanitized after every customer's use. Kailangan po yung physical distancing niya na 1 meter on all sides. So on a table on a table for 4 people before COVID, right now, dalawang tao lang ang pwedeng umupo diagonally seated unless they can provide divider, yung whether acrylic or plastic cover or whatever material, basta may divider sila so that they can be allowed face-to-face seating. Pwede lang po ang face-to-face kung meron, please remember, pwede lang face-to-face pagkapag meron silang divider. And then the notices on the mandatory minimum considerations at the entrance should be posted by all restaurants and dine-in establishments, whether you're a carinderia or a formal dining restaurant inside a hotel. Use of alternative methods of payment are also encouraged. Electronic, we mentioned this for salons and barbershops. But again, a reminder, even po yung mga credit cards, sana kung merong customers who are here, even the credit cards that are returned to you after payment, please sanitize them before you put them back in your bag. Ako, pag lumalabas, lahat ng cards na nilabas ko, kailangan i-sanitize before ko ibalik sa bag. And then the use of small trays or other devices to avoid physical contact, yan yung kanina. Same concept and same method rin as for salons and barbershops. Visible markings or guides for queuing should be provided. Mali lang po itong May na to. No customer personnel contact for taking orders and payments as much as possible. Kung meron kayong yung checklist, yung disposable menu or single-use menu that you can provide if you own a restaurant, and then the customers may also ask for this, baka meron sila, just take the orders and then give it to them, and then hindi na po yun ibabalik sa inyo. It will be disposed of accordingly. Then one table should have one menu. Hindi pwedeng ikot-ikot yung menu sa iba-ibang table inside the restaurant. Proper disposal of the disposable equipment, whether these are toilet paper, tissue paper, or yung cubiertos na plastic, yung disposable spoons and forks, one time lang po yan, tapon sila lahat agad. Reminder, as customers, we may bring our own utensils if we want. We may bring our own water because it's also a challenge for restaurants to provide service water dahil we talk to a lot of restaurant owners, hindi nila alam kung paano sila magsaserve ng water that the customers can trust. Dahil syempre, of course, they observe good manufacturing practices. It's a set of protocols for restaurant owners. Pero yung confidence kasi ng consumer, they might refuse it or they might not allow service water. Magdala na lang kayo ng sarili nyo if you like, and restaurants will allow them. You may also bring your own utensils kung gusto ninyo, and the restaurants will also allow them. Furniture inside the restaurants may be covered in plastic for easy sanitation, but whatever material it is, the restaurant owners have the responsibility to always sanitize after every customer's use. Compliance with the minimum public health standards by all staff and customers while inside the restaurant or fast food establishment is always monitored by DTI, DOLE, the Department of Tourism for restaurants, and the local government unit. Ito po yung city health officers to make sure that it's not just one department, kasi kung konti ang workforce namin to make sure that all restaurants are visited, kasama po natin yung ibang agencies to assist us. Display of condiments is discouraged. Yung mga self-service condiments is discouraged right now, if not prohibited. Wag na po natin sila gamitin. Yung parang buffet din to na anybody can just come and get their utensils. Please itago nyo na muna, and then if possible, kung kaya ninyong ipack yung mga kubiertos in clean packaging, yun na lang po ang ilagay nyo, and then ibigay sa customer when they ask for it. But please do not display it to avoid contamination. Administration of personal safety protocols, wearing of PPEs, we mentioned this for barbershops and salons. As much as they can, i-provide nila yung buong kompleto na set ng PPEs, but if not, at least the hairnet, yung hair cover for restaurants, and then the face mask. Gloves, hindi po masyado, because even the World Health Organization discourages the use of gloves because it gives us a false sense of security. Basta kailangan po sanitize palagi ang kamay. And then the shoes also, nakaano din sila, closed shoes. And then jewelry is also discouraged. Hanggat maaari, wag nang magsuot ng jewelry na hindi naman kailangan inside the restaurant when you're serving customers. Taking orders through phone calls for delivery and takeaway. Ito po via email or phone call or any other online mode na pwede i-provide ng restaurants. And then staggered start times for food delivery drivers para hindi rin sila magka-crowd. But we have already advised all mall owners, yung may mga malalaking establishments where there are a lot of restaurants na binibilihan for delivery and takeout, to expand their spaces para dun sa waiting area ng ating delivery drivers, either in motorcycles or vehicles or other means of transportation, naka-physical distancing pa rin sila ng 1 meter away from each other. And then to assign drop-off sites with easily noticeable signage or markers. Pagka merong mga malls na nag-a-allow ng pick-up lang at the lobby ng food, bababa yung may-ari ng restaurant to bring the food that was ordered for delivery, at saka doon na pick up din para to save time also. And then coordinate with delivery drivers regarding drop-off locations and other instructions. As customers, tayo naman po to give them the specific instructions kung saan, also to save time at para konti lang rin yung maging exposure ng ating delivery driver. And then we also need to adjust practices for proof of delivery through the use of online confirmation. This would include also the vehicle and the driver's observation of the health protocols, cleaning and hygiene protocols. All dine-in services that have agreed to operate at this time means that they have agreed and have committed to comply with the protocols that we have released. The owners of establishments covered by this memorandum circular shall be deemed to have made a commitment. So ibig sabihin, lahat po ng protocols natin, kailangan nilang sundin mabuti, and then they will be conscious also of their compliance. The 4 agencies that we have mentioned, ito po yung mga tumitingin, and we, under the law, we can recommend temporary closure ng restaurants pagka hindi sila nagko-comply until they have fully complied with the requirements. So let us not waste that opportunity na naka-operate na tayo, comply na natin lahat para hindi tayo makitaan ng any violation at hindi tayo bumalik ulit sa pagkasa. It might take some time for you to be able to comply. So better that you start operating when you have already fully complied with the requirements. Not only of these guidelines, but also the DTI DOLE interim guidelines on COVID prevention in the workplace, as well as the good manufacturing practices in restaurants and fast food establishments. Any violation of the protocols that we have laid down may be brought to the attention of the Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau of the DTI, that's under the Consumer Protection Group, as well as the Regional Operations Group Consumer Protection Division in other areas of the country. We have regional and provincial offices in all regions of the country, and they will assess compliance of the restaurants and dine-in establishments. Inspections conducted by other agencies aside from DTI shall be recognized. All feedback and complaints may be coursed through the Consumer Care Hotline 1384 if you cannot go physically to the Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau. You may also email us at consumercare@dti.gov.ph. Covered establishments found violating the mandatory requirements may be penalized. On the second offense, pagka po nabalikan kayo, after ninyo masabihan, nabalikan kayo and you still do not comply or hindi nyo pa rin nakompleto despite the warning, you will be penalized 2 months imprisonment or a fine ranging between 10,000 pesos to 1 million pesos under the Bayanihan to Hilas 1 Act. So the department does not want to be too regulatory, but we want to make sure also that the guidelines are being complied with. So please, ayaw po natin na ipasara kayo or mag-order ng temporary closure, kaya sana i-comply lang ninyo yung protocols before you start operating. So that is the last of the slides. Thank you very much. Here is the QR code for DTI so that it can take you to the DTI website, and then you will see all the issuances that we have made. That's all of the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yusek. I'll move to my screen, please.
Thank you.
Wow. Parang
that's quite a mouthful.
Hindi kayo kaya parang yung team mo, Yusek, every week, di ba, we release circulars, and of course, padami yung questions. So
yeah,
I could just imagine your team and the work you guys are doing. And so,
yeah, and Joel, if I may just say, kasi, di ba, at least once a week I go out. But even if I don't go out to inspect, our Fair Trade Enforcement Bureau inspects every day. So, hindi porke hindi ako nakikita ay wala na kami doon. We're still there and they're not in uniform because we don't want to scare away people, but they're there. And we know, and we have reports every day.
Yeah, so you can see that our, the DTI Consumer Protection Group, parang they're really our quote-unquote secret police for our own protection, particularly from a consumer perspective. Kasi umiikot talaga, no? From the palengkes to the supermarkets, and these are the people going around, right? So, just to give you a little thing before, papapahingin ko muna si Yusek Ruth while I talk about myself.
Okay. Sige, I will listen.
So,
I stop my screen. I stop my video.
Yeah, this is already. No, go stay, Yusek. So,
okay.
Then I'm going to do. So, for everybody who's not here, who's been here for the first time, the one handling this event is actually Thames International Business School. We're the first international college in the country. So we're now a senior high school, a college, and a postgraduate school. So we are 100% online. We were one of the first schools who have been able to finish the school year 100% online. So our senior high school, our college, and our postgraduate programs are all online. Our focus for corporate training is logistics and supply chain management. And our focus for undergraduate is entrepreneurship and communications. So as we go to the new normal, we continually, and we work with the DTI on this, and everything on logistics and supply chain. We work with the Singapore government through their Singapore Institute of Materials Management. They allow, they're the training arm of the whole logistics industry in Singapore. So as you move forward in your own logistics business, we're here to help. So next week, we have every week we have one or two, but for next week, we will have one, which is the guidelines on online transactions. This is for everybody who buys anything on the internet. So it's a big one. So I'm telling you now to reserve the time on June 24, 4 to 5:30 p.m. And now is the reaction from our panelists, right? I hope I gave you enough time to catch your breath, Yusek. So I'll introduce our panelists.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah.
Adolf
Thank you.
Aran Jr., he's also a lecturer in Thames, but he's a CEO and restaurant coach. Sobrang dami pong experience ni Adolf. He has been 28 years of experience in the food and beverage from San Miguel Pure Foods, Kenny Rogers, Shakey's, Sumo Sam, Big Steiner, both local and foreign chains. So if you're in the business of the restaurant, you need a coach, go to Adolf Aran. Now, our other panelists, Les Reyes, another friend who owns Reyes Hair Cutters, suddenly got stuck in Lipa and he said the connectivity is not good. So he asked the president of his franchise advisory board, Dr. Mary Bell Lucas, to be the one with us today from Reyes Hair Cutters. So, ladies first, Dr. Mary Bell Lucas, you can show your video now and then maybe you can ask the first set of questions and reactions to the presentation of Yusek Ruth.
Hi, good afternoon, Yusek Ruth.
Hi, good afternoon, Doc.
So actually, I'm representing the salon business and the same time the clinic. You know, I'm by profession, I'm a OBGYN. Okay. So before the opening of the salons, we are already practicing the protocols. So ahead, the medical health personnel are already practicing the health protocols set by the WHO. So in your PPEs, so with regards to PPE, you mentioned eyeglasses. Is it eye goggles? Supposed to be it's goggles, not eyeglasses. What's
goggles? Goggles as part of the
yes,
PPE.
PPE. But in your slide, it was eyeglasses.
So, hindi po. Sorry, nagkamali lang.
Apo. So, goggles po siya.
Yes, yes. Opo.
And then, a lot of mistake also is, they should wear the goggles and the face shield at the same time. They can only choose one. It's so hard to wear the goggles and the face shield at the same time for the PPE. Is that
the requirement ba for both the goggles and the face shield? Or
there was a news that the goggles and the face shield should be used at the same time. So we just wanted that to be corrected, that you can choose either the goggles or the face shield.
Sino daw po nagsabi, Doc?
It was in one of those news.
So anyway, nakita nyo naman po yung minimum requirements natin.
Yes.
We do not require both. Kahit nga po face shield lang, except when you do the shampoo. So I mean, kahit face mask lang, unless you do the shampoo, you wear the face shield.
So when we do hair cutting, we can do away with the face shield, just the face mask.
Opo.
Sometimes it's hard to do the cutting because the acrylic barrier is sometimes it gets blurred and you cannot do the hair cutting properly.
So either or ata so either or Dr. Lucas. So that's
okay.
That's done. Okay.
So you can you're not supposed to remove the face mask, but you can remove the face shield. Is that possible, Yusek?
Opo, the face shield kasi is to protect the eyes. Pero yung possibility kasi ng droplets going into the eyes is lesser than the possibility of the droplets going through the mouth or the nose. Kaya
so we just want to make it clear that if the hair cutter is wearing already the goggles, they should not wear the face shield. Okay?
Wala na po yata silang makikita nun if they wear both.
Oh, yes. That's it.
And then Dr. Lucas, either or, di ba?
Yes, either or. And then with regards to the use of plastics, there
dividers.
were a lot, yes, as dividers. So the protocol is the plastic should be from ceiling to floor, because it's useless if it's going to be halfway through because the air, it can goes around. So the protocol should be when you put a plastic barrier, it should be from ceiling to floor.
Is that a question or a suggestion, Dr. Lucas?
Because there are a lot of video footage.
Oh yeah, question or suggestion?
Video footage. Because that should be the proper. That should be the proper setup if you use the plastic barrier. However, there are a lot of video footages that I have seen that the plastic is up to the forehead or whatever. So it's useless. And let's face it, if we are going to use a lot of plastic, later on, it's going to be waste. And again, after 1 year, we are stuck again. We try to lessen the use of plastic. And now we are encouraging everybody again to use the plastic. So it's either you just protect yourself with a face mask, face shield, or goggles, and then the barrier should be proper. It's not halfway, meaning it's useless if you're going to use the barrier na hindi tama. So yun lang po yung isang nakita ko na sa mga video footage doon. And then I also...
Saan po bang video footage yung Doc, yung sinasabi yung nakikita nyo? Yung barriers po kasi natin na dividers, we understand. DTI Consumer Protection Group is also an advocate of Sustainable Development Goal number 12. Ayaw nga rin po talaga namin ng plastic, but we need it now. We have no choice.
Yes,
yung sa videos po, yung mga pinupuntahan natin, we make sure to tell them na kung pwede, simula sa ceiling hanggang sa baba. But anyway, this is only required doon sa maliliit na lugar. Pero kung malaki naman po yung lugar, hindi nila kailangan lagi lahat maglagay.
Yes. And thank you, Yusek, for saying the use of gloves. In fact, talaga pong tama na it give you a sense of parang security. Well, in fact, hindi. Kasi mas okay po na walang gloves, no po, at magpuhugas po sila every customer. Every client, wash hands, ganun po, rather than having the gloves and then they will forget to change it or wash their hands afterwards. So thank you for emphasizing on the use of gloves. And for the shoe cover, I think as long as closed shoes, you don't need to have the shoe cover. Kasi minsan po yung ibang nakita ko din sa footages, overkill po talaga eh. Yung po yung tinatawag namin na PPE level 4 sa OR. Yung pong suot ng mga nasa salon, pang operating room na po talaga. So sa mga clinics po kasi, yung mga ibang establishment, very simple lang po yung amin. I'm sure you're also familiar with this. Para po short sleeve so they can wash their hands. Kesa yung naka-gown sila na parang bunny suit, it is also being discouraged also. I hope. Kasi hindi din talaga mahugasan po yung kanilang kamay properly. So, another thing, Yusek, is yun pong sa 30% na nasa GCQ, talaga pong na-try po namin. So nag-open po kami nung June 8. Ako kasi ang salon ko po kasi is nasa May Kawayan. So sa LGU po namin, Sunday, close lahat po establishment. So we just work from Monday to Saturday. Ang amin pong earnings every day will range from 1,000 to 1,500 for haircut alone. Kasi yun lang po yung pwede. And if you add it, it will not be sufficient really to cover all our expenses. Rental is 20,000. Meralco is almost 15,000. So kung kumita po kami ng 26 to 36,000 a month, it will not even, we cannot survive. Really. Kung haircut lang po talaga yung magiging namin sa salon. So we really wanted to know what's it if we do the coloring, if we do the treatment, because when we apply the color, the hair cutter or the beautician will not stay beside the client. He will apply it or he will apply it, then he will sit and wait for about 30 minutes, and then shampoo, and then blow dry. So sometimes it is more consuming going to a grocery store. You spend around 30 to 45 minutes, and yet they can roam around and stay there.
Okay,
unlike in the salon.
Lucas, let's go straight to quick questions kasi it's like an Ask DTI. We appreciate all your expertise in the comments, pero hahaba ho, tsaka marami ho tayong nakapila na gusto. So if you could just ask the questions directly. We appreciate all of the expert opinions, pero kung pwede tayong dumiretso straight to the point kasi marami feeling questions. Thank you.
So Yusek, can you allow us on other procedures, chemical procedures that we can do for our salon?
Sinabi na po natin, yung MGCQ areas allow 50% capacity of all personal care services. So that will include hair treatment, wax, or nails, or whatever other services at 50% capacity. But in GCQ areas po, it's the IATF that decides. It's not Secretary Lopez alone. Lahat po sila as a collegial body discuss and talk about this. So for now, pasensya na po, GCQ areas talagang 30% capacity lang, only on haircut.
Okay.
That can still change pa naman po, di ba?
Oh yes, evolving naman yan. Oo, evolving naman siya.
So actually, Dr. Lucas, tama ho yung comment na yes, there are, that's why this forum nga ho, that suggestions na if we could add the hair coloring and everything, and at least from a DTI perspective, they can also start reviewing the possibilities for that one. Kasi that's why nga we have the forum. Okay. What other questions do you have, Doctora?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Adolf, on the restaurant side, do you mind going on video, please? And Adolf, there. Thank you, Dr. Lucas. And then Adolf. You're still on mute. There.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes. Hi. Good afternoon, Joel. Good afternoon, Yusek, Ruth. Nice to see you again.
Yes, hi, Adolf.
Hi.
I saw you
last Monday, Yusek.
Monday. Yes.
That's right. I saw how busy you are hopping from one restaurant to another. And
yes.
Initially my reaction is that I like to see it in three ways. Now, first of all, I appreciate what the government is doing, tirelessly, fully trying to put together all these protocols and making sure that the consumer is protected and of course the business is protected. And when I came up with a post in my Facebook, for example, I saw how if there is one agency that is being commended by a lot of our Facebook netizens, it's really the DTI, and we really take our hat off for your efforts, Yusek.
Thank you.
For Team DTI, maraming salamat po. And of course, on the second sector naman, which is the restaurant operator side, as part of the journey of DTI's intervention to make sure that things happen properly and safely, I saw how the restaurant operators naman tried to work with the government and try to work internally, because obviously we all know that a lot of businesses suffered, and I saw the pains and the struggles that they had during the time that they were closed, and when they finally got to open, not a lot open for takeout and delivery, because not all of their menus are designed for such. No? And that's why when they opened last June 15, nako, tuwang-tuwa kami. And then when we saw you inspecting, making sure that the safety protocols are in place, parang it's like para kami nabunutan ng tinik na parang finally, yes, we can start welcoming our guests. And we're so happy with that. Maraming salamat po. And finally, the third
Thank
part
you.
of the journey is of course the consumers, no? And I think the consumers are also trying to gauge whether our partnership, the government and the private sector's efforts are going to bear fruit in terms of putting the safety protocols in place. And right now, nararamdaman namin na merong pang takot and meron pang, there's still a lot of hesitation in trying to visit. But slowly, in some places, in some areas, I think they are already witnessing the protocols are being put in place, the safety protocols. And that's why my reaction when I saw your presentation, it seems that you have mandatory and you have some areas for flexibility. Is that correct, Yusek?
Yes, that's right. Meron tayong mga non-negotiable. Pero konti lang yon. O the rest,
yes, that's right.
Pwede nyo ng discretion na ng owner. Yes.
That's right. And do sa discretionary part, that's where I saw some areas wherein maybe I know that LGUs and DOLE and DOH and DOT and DTI are working hand in hand. But in some areas lang, I seem to see some not discrepancies, but medyo differences.
Idolf, can we go
in the
specific?
way things are being implemented. Siguro sa simula, yes.
Yeah.
Sa simula, Yusek, nakita ko yung time of operation.
Yeah.
Yes. Time of operation, for example, that's very flexible, no? Yusek, about kasi nung simula, they're afraid about opening until 8 p.m. dahil wala silang makakapture na dinner time. Now we can extend it until the time that the LGU allows it. Totoo ba yan?
Actually,
the mall
may issuance.
Or even the LGU allows
it. DTI
Yes.
actually has an issuance, Memorandum Circular number 20-15 yata or 8. We encourage operations up to 12 hours. Pero depende na rin
up to
sa
12
inyo.
hours. Okay.
Oo, depende na rin syempre sa business owner yun, sa business operator, kung how long they would want to operate. But for DTI, 12 hours. Para rin para rin mas maraming maka-avail ng services.
Okay. Thank you, Yusek. And then I noticed about the face-to-face, nasabi niya there's an alternative to that. If they cannot do face-to-face, it has to be divided by a partition, whether it's made of plastic or acrylic or fiberglass.
Any form.
Anything
any
that will
form.
divide.
Yes.
So therefore, meron ng flexibility doon. But I noticed that when you went around sa mga restaurants last Monday, there's a certain merong mga even yung laki ng butas where the plates can be shared with another guest.
Yeah.
Did you say? So meron din hong yes. Yes,
hindi kasi kung maglalagay kayo ng face-to-face, 'di ba, para magkaharap yung customers, magkasama sila, hindi naman uupo doon yung hindi magkasama, 'di ba? And then if they're going to share food, meron lang maliit na slot doon sa ilalim para you can pass the food. But actually, mahirap siya kasi if you think about it, ganun din yun, pareho din ang effect. But at least, mako-control natin yung transmission kahit papano.
Okay.
And then kung pwede...
And another thing, you said...
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, kung pwede, when they order in a casual restaurant, pasplit na nila, ipahati na nila kung, especially kung magkaiba sila ng lamesa or naka-diagonal seating, baka mas mahirap yung magpapasa-pasa, pasplit na nila yung mga orders.
Okay. Hey, Doc.
Okay, thank you, Yusek. And then I noticed about the
Thank you.
30% and the 50%. Yes, yes.
Mm-mm.
Can I just raise the last question about the 30%? I noticed that the DOT circular came up with a general guideline wherein 50% is allowed for all types and for all whether it's MECQ or GCQ. But for DTI, it's only 30% initially. You said?
O kasi for DTI kasi we have to make sure na 1 meter physical distancing kayo yung mga not necessarily the tables but the customers should be 1 meter away from each other. Kaya pagka kinompute mo magiging 30% din siya, you'll end up 30% rin yung 50% ng DOT.
Okay. So we'll just try to come up with a compromise on the percentage, the allowable number of guests in that case.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Yusek. Maraming salamat po.
Okay. Thank you, Adolf. Good luck.
Joel?
Yes, thank you, Edo. So now we'll try to answer some of the
Thank you,
questions
Yusek.
that's out there. I don't know nothing question yan. Let's we're trying to group them. No? So this one is on health declaration form. There's a health declaration form for all the establishments. So this is from Rodolfo Cancio, Rona Tob, and Rona Tobias. Pagsama ko na lang po yung mga question no, di ba? There's a timeline that until when will the establishments keep the health declaration form? Is it really mandatory or is it optional? And then there's this thing about data privacy, di ba? So how should they be signing data privacy notices because now people's data is with salons, di ba? And restaurants. So,
but under this pandemic, we're only asking for the body temperature and the contact number. 'Di ba? Kahit ibahin nila yung pangalan, this is one way of, well, this is the best way that government can do para ma-advise kayo. 'Di ba? I don't think there is any violation of privacy there if you give your contact number to the establishment where you go.
so yan po mga customers, tandaan niyo po, pag inihingi na yung vital statistics nyo, saan kayo graduate, sino yung kasama nyo kagabi, huwag nyo na ibigay. Hindi po yan kasama sa information required. Okay.
Joel, may I comment?
Telephone number lang, tsaka name, no?
May I comment, Joel?
Yes, and the body temperature.
At saka body temperature. Adolf, tinatanong ka ata every time mapasok ka kung saan ka galing. Yes, go ahead. What's your question?
Yes.
Adolf, you're
Well, kasi I saw in some of the restaurants, it's garbled. Hello? Better?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I saw in some establishments wherein they asked beyond the name and the contact number. They're also asking for where they came from and where they intend to go.
So yun nga yung...
And kanina, nag-attend ako ng isang data privacy webinar wherein the Privacy Commissioner Raymond Liboro talked about this. And may mga so I guess sabi ng Data Privacy Commissioner, it's still the right of the consumer to give such information. If they feel that they're being violated up to a certain point, then they can withhold such information. But I get correct ba, Yusek?
Yes,
Hello?
yes. Kahit na
Hello?
maraming questions doon sa health declaration form, you can choose to answer whatever you want, but please make sure to provide your cell phone number. That's the most important.
Okay.
Kasi yung contact tracing nga yung intention talaga natin.
Yes. Thank you, Yusek.
So moving naman to questions about the senior citizen card. Restaurants are supposed to react to or handle people who are senior citizens. And then, are senior citizens and individuals below 21, are they not allowed inside salons and restaurants? That's a question from Elizabeth Ko.
When we were stricter kasi remember in MECQ and GCQ areas meron pa ding authorized persons under outside residents ang PNP. This is the A4, yung APOR na yung seniors and 21 years old and below bawal lumabas except when they're doing their essential work or papasok sa trabaho or negosyo or magbabangko or dahil walang ibang mag-grocery, kaya binabawal yung mga salons na yan. Pero now, binabawal yung pagpunta kasama sa pagbawal yung pagpunta nila sa salon. But if they have other things to do naman outside and they can already, pwede naman sila pumunta. But it's still highly discouraged dahil nga dun sa age ng mga tao.
So discouraged but not prevented.
Not prevented if they are authorized. If they are A4, yung authorized persons outside residence.
Okay. Yan yung maraming gray area siguro now kasi siyempre they also want to go out. So can they refuse the establishments? This is from Rochelle Aguilar. Can they really refuse the senior citizen? Diba? As you said nga, kung wala silang A4 and everything, and siyempre nagko-complain. Can they actually refuse?
It's always the prerogative of the restaurant owner to refuse guests, di ba? Restaurant or salon owners, nasa kanila naman yun kung i-refuse nila. But I would suggest to refuse politely para hindi naman ma-offend or magalit yung customer.
Okay. What about working naman po? Senior citizens, are they allowed to work in salons, even in MGCQ? This is from Andrea Lorenzana. And pregnant workers, are those allowed to work in salons and restaurants? I guess.
Yung mga high risk, mga vulnerable people natin, kung talagang yun ang work nila at yun lang kasi under the DTI DOLE guidelines, yung mga vulnerable group is supposed to be provided with other work by their employers or allowed yung work from home or other similar arrangements. Pero kung ito lang talaga yung source of income ng tao, kahit senior na siya, wala tayong, I think we should allow them.
Okay. There's this...
Kung wala silang ibang, kung wala kang pwedeng i-assign na trabaho sa kanila from home.
Okay. There's the other question naman regarding ito magkakasama. Confusion between the LGU guidelines versus the DTI guidelines. I think Adolf was mentioning it, diba? Sometimes the guidelines of the LGU and the DTI are medyo maybe conflicting. So for example, this one from Rochelle Aguilar and Ray Repito, LGUs and DTIs have different rules in the salon. Who do they really follow?
That's the difficulty kasi the authority of DTI in issuing memorandum circulars is from the IETF. Kaya lang syempre the LGUs want to institute siguro either stricter or more relaxed guidelines. Pero kung nandun ka, it's the LGUs that issue the business permits. So please follow whatever the local government says. Pero yung only when it's above what DTI issued. Pero if it's a requirement relaxing DTI guidelines, please follow DTI guidelines.
So the rule of thumb, if it's DTI is base, if the rule of the LGU makes it stricter, follow the LGU.
Yes.
If the rule of the LGU makes it more relaxed, whether salon or restaurants, follow DTI. So parang yun ang kind of base na. So let's use the DTI as the base. Okay, just as a guideline.
Thank you.
Okay, this one naman again about salons, Gina Mendez. So ito nasa Makati nga. They were ordered not to do shampoo and blow dry services. But yun na nga, as Yusek said, they were allowed shampoo. So basically, in this example, they have to follow the LGU. Diba?
Yes. Baka i-revoke ang business permit nila. Susundin na lang nila.
Okay, this one about nail salons and their services is from Gina Mendez Joyta. Pagsasama ko lang po mga question nyo, no, diba? Yung talagang other services, like from nail to color treatment and all of these things, as Dr. Lucas nga said, maliit yung kita talaga kung haircut lang, ano, and the other services
Mm-mm.
are the ones that really provide additional revenue. Kailan ho kaya, from their questions, kailan kaya ito marirelax ng konti? Kasi nga, nahihirapan rin silang kumita, no, with just the haircut.
Mm-mm. We understand. Pero for now, pasensya na po talaga, ang allowed pa lang ng IATF in GCQ areas is haircut. Pero hopefully, we transition into MGCQ areas where all other personal care services are already allowed at 50% capacity. Baka naman maka-transition na tayo by end of the month into MGCQ, pwede na rin po yun, ma-allow na.
Actually, suggestion ko po sa mga salons, di ba, you should charge depending on gaano kadaming buhok ang ginugupitan nyo eh. Kasi ngayon, ang dami-dami ng buhok, di ba? Siguro malaki kikitain nyo like ako, di ba? Usually ang gupit ko 15 minutes lang. Ngayon, siguro matagal na. So, the other thing, ito po, may tanong home service. Is home service allowed na ba? This from Angelica Marie De Leon, Weng Montero. Do they allow freelance hairdressers, home service, and all of that? Ano bang...
Ano na yan, customers' discretion if they will allow other people entering their homes at this time. So bahala na po kayo to decide.
Okay. Minimum health protocols, we talked about that na. So these are all answered. Sanitizing equipment. So Kenner Martinez, Pamela Raquel, these were all answered about sanitizing the equipment and the combs and everything. Capacity. Again, we have this thing on the capacity. Does the capacity include the staff? Or is that just based on customers?
Customers. Customers lang. In restaurants?
Yes, in restaurants.
Restaurants, customers lang.
It's only the customers.
Yes, 30% seating capacity.
Like sa manufacturing, the employees are 30%.
Yeah.
Here, it's the customers that are 30%. Adolf, quick question lang. From your experience ba, pag 30% yung customers ng restaurant, kikita na ba sila doon?
Challenge. It's a challenge. Baka hindi pa, kaya lang yun muna talaga for now. Ayan si Adolfo, he knows.
Yeah, Adolf, as the restaurant coach, would you suggest the restaurant to open kung 30% lang? Or...
Mahihirapan, Joel. But I've talked to some of the operators, and what they're trying to do is to reinvent their menu so that it becomes grab and go. So therefore, dati-dati, a customer will stay for about 30 minutes if it's a casual dining. What they want to do is to have a faster turnover. So if they have less guests, maybe the guests will stay shorter this time, shorter stay, and maybe they can have more turnovers so that they can recover the loss.
I think that's a good idea. Restaurant owners, yes. I think you have to go with yung turnaround time.
Turnover. Yeah, turnover.
So, pwede niyo pong ilagay pagpasok sa restaurant, sabihin niyo wala nang kwentuhan, kain lang. Believe.
That's right.
Para naman kasi
para kumita.
Para kumita, diba?
Yes, Joel, the customers will also like that because they don't want to stay longer so that hindi sila mahahawa sa iba if they stay longer, di ba?
That's right. Okay, we're running out of time. So, for the dine-in, if customers are one table, all from the same family anyway, aren't they allowed to go face-to-face without the acrylic barrier? Kasi naman galing naman sila Yusek from the same house, di ba? And they're coming into the table. Do they still need all of those acrylic barriers?
Diagonal seating pa rin sila kung walang acrylic barriers because the restaurant owner would not know naman kung talagang same family nga. Hindi naman sila ihinga ng ID, di ba? Or any identification. So just to make sure that the protocols are equally applied to every customer, pare-pareho na wala nang distinction kung magkapatid kayo or mag-asawa or come from the same family.
There's a question from Sheena Salamanca naman, restaurants again. Are they required to have the checklist? We already answered that. Pero meron siyang tanong, what about food kiosks tsaka stalls? Kailangan pa ba raw i-perform yung checklist?
Hindi na, kung bibili lang naman sa kanila. Wala naman silang dine-in, di ba? Meron ba? Kung meron, kung meron, mag-fill up ng form.
Yun di ba? Dine-in lang yun. So, kunwari, bibili ka lang ng ice
Hindi na.
don't need to do that.
Hindi na. No need.
The checklist, okay, for everybody's only if they're dining in.
Yes.
Karinderya, ito naman, galing kay Kenner Martinez. Mga karinderya in the probinsya, not all of them can afford the thermal scanner. Ano po raw ang remedy nila doon? Sa mga small-time karinderya.
Oo nga, kasi...
Kuha ka na lang online noon, di ba? Pwede ba yun? Hindi. Hindi.
No contact yan.
Ano naman silang thermal scanner? Ano pong...
Wala akong answer dyan, Joel. I cannot answer, pero sana meron. Merong local government units pala na nagbibigay sa mga businesses, sa salons and barbershops and restaurants. So tanong nila sa barangay or sa mayor, baka meron na available for them.
Tama po yan. So yan, that's a very good suggestion. So it's really hard. I mean, the karinderias, di ba? I don't know how much those thermal scanners are. Magkano ba yun, Adolf? Ano?
Mga 3,500.
Mabigat. Dr. Lucas, nakamute po kayo. Yan.
It ranges from 3,400 to 3,800.
Mabigat, no? Para sa karinderya.
Yeah.
Doc, ito yung simple, di ba? Yung simple lang na magaang, parang maliit lang.
Parang gun lang siya na ganon. I-ano mo lang. May distance pa siya sa...
Oo.
Ano na?
So, siguro, as mga karinderya, siguro kausapin nyo na lang yung yung tawag dito, yung LGU nyo. Kasi pwede naman mag-common entrance kayo para isa na lang para to service 5 people, di ba? I'm sure mapag-iisipan nyo po parang isang gun for 5 as long as one entrance. Thank you, Dr. Lucas. So, ito naman galing kay Arman Valencia. So, most salons and restaurants are opening at a loss now and are facing closures. There a way or push from DTI to help in pleading with the mall owners? I have the answer to that, but I'll let Yusek answer that.
Sige, go. Ikaw muna.
Actually, last week, namigay na yung mga mall owners ng concession sa lahat ng mga salons and restaurants, di ba? As much as 50% off nga of rent even though they're not required to give a 50% discount. So a lot have already done it. So if the mall owner has not given any halos lahat ng mall owners, di ba, Yusek?
Most of them have even waived yung 2 months natin from March to May.
Yes.
March 15 to May 15, i-waive nila yung mga rental fees.
Yeah. So nagtrabaho na po ang DTI and they've already talked to the mall owners. Ang siguro lang the smaller ones, siyempre it's their prerogative. But the large malls have all given concessions. Pero
yung mga arcade siguro. Arcade baka...
Okay. So, ang sagot ko dyan, pakiusapan na lang kasi they are not mandated by law to give you a discount. But they can give, that, ito naman, last question yan. Regarding hotels, magkakaroon ba raw tayo ng discussion regarding hotels? I think, may schedule na ba tayo nun, Yusek Ruth?
Wala pa. Hotel operation?
Yeah, wala pa, no?
Wala pa.
I-announce ko na, meron raw LGU that does not allow plastic. May mga LGU na bawal ang plastic. This is from Apet Mata and Chris Sigueco. No plastic policy. Does that apply to acrylic? Hindi naman siguro, no?
Acrylic is not. Alam ko yung may mga areas kasi, may like LGUs, like Quezon City, di ba bawal yung plastic sa palengke?
Bawal
they discourage that?
Forks and spoons, yung sinasabi.
Na disposable, okay. Oo, kasi nga it's against sustainable consumption and production Pero for now, any kind of divider, kahit hindi siya plastic, let's just be creative kung ano yung pwede natin magamit.
So, pagbabalikan po pa tayo sa kamayan o hindi rin maganda. That's where kakamayan tayo, di ba? So,
Joel, there are mga disposables na not made of plastic, yung mga corn-based, mga ganyan.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And that,
yes.
hard paper.
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is a very, very, it's really tough, no? There's so many gray areas. And before we end this thing, I think we've tackled most of the topics. I know a lot of you still have questions, pero more or less, I hope those are answered with the groupings. Yusek, what's our kind of rule of thumb for both salons and restaurants? Just like you said, di ba, last week, for mga leases, the rule of thumb talaga is tsaka refunds, pakisamahan na lang because we all have relationships, di ba? Kasi if you are an event company, may relationship kayo with all of these suppliers. Ganun rin sa leasing. Pero restaurants and salons, the relationship is not that tight So what's the parang rule of thumb?
Rule of thumb in restaurants and salons, both for the customer and the operator or the workers inside, please make sure you comply with all the mandatory health protocols to make sure that you're protected and the workers are also protected. Yun lang yung sa atin.
Okay.
And then, Joel, inside restaurants, if you're a family of 10, kung ano yung seating arrangement ng restaurant, yun na yun. So, hiwalay-hiwalay kayo kung kailangan. In a table of 10, ngayon 5 na lang or 4 yung pwedeng mag-occupy. Please do not make the restaurant owners move the tables because it will be a violation of our guidelines.
Okay. So, please remember, yung dalawang pamilya, wag nyo na ipagsabay. Di ba? Hiwalay para 5-5 lang. So, pero ganun yun talaga 5 lang kasi dahil pwede namang kumain sa labas, papakainin ko sana parents ko pero sinabi kaagad sa amin ng restaurants, hanggang 5 lang po kami maximum. So they're really following this one. So wala pang big gatherings, di ba? Kumbaga,
no.
Ano pa siya, small gatherings. Okay. Great. Wow. Woo. Hirap, ano? But ipa-flash po natin lahat ng pa-flash po natin lahat uli ang if you have more questions from DTI, ito po bago natin pakita yung barcode. Yan, isa pang hot topic next week, Wednesday, guidelines on online transactions. Lahat po tayo in the past 3 months nakipag online transaction, di ba? So next week po, di-discuss natin yan. So for other things, ito po yung barcode, QR code pala ng DTI. So here, take a picture of this one for the QR code. Nandyan po lahat ng mga other DTI issuances para makita nyo na kagad. And with that, thank you po to our panelists, Dr. Lucas, Idol, thank you for spending the time with us. And of course, our walang kakumpas-kumpas super sipag. I could just imagine your work hands off. Hirap, no? But thank you very much. Thank you, DTI, for this. Thank you very much all for joining.
Thank you.
See you guys next week. So every week tinatakal natin lahat. And then for everybody, we have all of these things recorded and we will send you the links para yung mga na-miss nyo po, you can go back to it and share it with your friends because this discussion has been very useful for most people. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Joel.